Live, local, now. WTOC starts with breaking news.
We're following two breaking news stories this morning. One about a mobile home fire off Quaco Road. The other about an accident on I-16 West.
We want to start out with that accident. Police say it sent one person to the hospital. They say the driver lost control around mile marker 161. That's between the exits to Chatham Parkway and Dean Forest Road. The driver went off the road and crashed into the guardrail in the center median. The driver has minor injuries and is fortunately expected to be okay.
Well, the accident caused I-16 westbound to be reduced to one lane as crews work to remove the wreckage.
And Alexandra O'Neill joining us now with more on how those conditions are looking in that area.
Yeah, guys, right now everything looks great in that area. We'll pop over to our maps and you'll be able to see it for yourself. Everything, like I said, is nice and clear in that entire direction. I even circled it for you there so you can see everything is nice and clear. No problems anymore in that area, so that's good news there.
Well, a fire badly damages a mobile home off Quaco Road this morning.
Let's take a look at the video of what is left of the home. You can see there's really not much left. The Chatham Fire and Rescue Chief says people were actually inside that home when the fire broke out.
Jarvis Robertson is live at the scene this morning. And Jarvis, who exactly was inside that home, and do we know what their condition is at this point?
A mother and daughter were inside this home behind me when that fire broke out. Now, that little girl, 5-year-old child, was taken to the hospital. We're still waiting to learn their conditions, though. But live here off Quaco Road, I'm Jarvis Robertson, WTOC News.
A traffic stop in Savannah ends in 2 crashes with the vehicle ending upside down. It also led to a drug bust. This started when police tried to pull over 37-year-old Marshall Leaks. Officers say they smelled drugs in the car, and that's when the suspect just hit the gas and sped off. Now, the suspect then crashed his car at 38th and Abercorn. He kept on driving, though, finally colliding with an oncoming vehicle at the intersection of 38th and Habersham. Investigators found enough ecstasy and marijuana in his car to convince them he was dealing. Leaks was arrested and now faces 13 charges, including a hit and run. Those in the area say the driver should have been more careful about his decision-making.
Clearly, he wasn't thinking at all because that was a stupid decision. Now he's going to be in twice the amount of trouble.
Well, 2 people were transported to the hospital for minor injuries. An officer was also treated for minor cuts sustained during the arrest.
Well, a teenager accused of a shooting and fatal crash in City Market did not appear in court yesterday. A judge postponed the arraignment of 17-year-old Jerry Chambers Jr. His attorney challenged the validity of the 3 counts of felony murder that Chambers faces. The argument is that he should not be charged with both vehicular homicide and felony murder at the same time. The attorney also wants the felony murder charges dropped. The judge will consider the motion and make a ruling on November 22nd.
Well, CSX Transportation is now calling for a new trial in the death of Sarah Jones. She was hit and killed by a train during the filming of the movie Midnight Rider back in 2014. During the civil trial in July, the jury ruled CSX pay roughly $3.9 million to the family. Attorneys for the family say CSX is basing their request for a new trial on similar arguments made during July's trial, including that Jones and the film crew were, quote, too reckless for CSX employees to anticipate. Now, the family attorney says there's no reason to put the Jones family through any additional hardship.
Well, Tybee Island police are investigating what appears to be a hit and run involving a well-known businessman that happened late Sunday night or early Monday morning. Dylan Patel, whose family is in the hotel business on Tybee, was found at the east end of the Lazaretto Creek Bridge by a passerby. Investigators are looking for leads right now. The lead detective specifically wants to know who was in the area at that time.
And Metro Police report fewer violent crimes so far in 2017 than during the same period last year. Overall, officers have responded to 882 violent crimes this year compared to 953 last year. However, aggravated assaults, both with and without guns, are up. Police say aggravated assaults aren't necessarily shootings with injuries, but could just be someone pointing a gun or shooting at a home with people inside. Sergeant Robert Santero says programs within the department and within the community are helping to curb crime like homicide and street robberies.
A big effort on behalf of the department to target the violent crime and specific individuals that are doing the most violence. So I think that plays a part, as well as just the community. There's been a big outreach
Well, he hopes the programs working to reduce homicides will help reduce aggravated assaults as well.
Well, just one day after pleading guilty to desertion and misbehavior before the enemy, lawyers for Army Sergeant Bo Bergdahl want his case dismissed. Tasia Reed is following the story from the live desk. Tasia?
That's right, Russ. And Bo Bergdahl says President Trump is actually preventing him from getting a fair sentence. Now, if you remember, President Trump harshly criticized Bergdahl when he was candidate for president, and he stood by those comments recently. The judge overseeing the case previously ruled that Mr. Trump's comments didn't constitute unlawful command influence. Bergdahl's sentencing is set to start on Monday.
Well, President Trump's campaign fundraiser in South Carolina was only open to donors, but we're now getting some video of what happened inside that event. The president called Governor Henry McMaster his friend and compatriot. President Trump then spoke about what he considers his accomplishments. This includes naming Neil Gorsuch to the Supreme Court and adding extra funding for the military. The crowd of supporters booed when he mentioned the NFL protest and Hillary Clinton.
She came out in favor of the NFL players dealing. I'm all in favor of people protesting if they want to protest, but you know what? You don't protest during our national anthem. All they have to do is say, you do the kneel, you're out for one game.
Well, not everyone was on board with the president's visit. There was a group of protesters about 6 miles away from the venue. They wanted to show people that there is a progressive movement in the state, they say. The Georgia Emergency Management Agency and Federal Emergency Management Agency say that they will close the Chatham County Disaster Recovery Center on this Saturday. That center was opened following Hurricane Irma to help those in need of disaster assistance. If you still need help applying for federal assistance, you have until 6 p.m. Saturday, October 21st to visit the center located at the Southwest Chatham Library on Abercorn Street.
Well, President Trump has issued a declaration that makes federal aid available to parts of South Carolina recovering from Hurricane Irma. The declaration issued today means federal aid can now be used to supplement state and local recovery efforts in 16 counties. This includes Beaufort, Hampton, and Jasper County. Governor Henry McMaster's office says he requested the declaration last month.
And on to some quieter news in the tropics. First alert tropical update sponsored by Safe Touch Security. It is quiet. National Hurricane Center is not watching any areas for tropical development within the next 5 days. But
we are staying on top of this morning's breaking news of a mobile home fire on Quaco Road. Crews still on the scene, and so is our Jarvis Robertson. We'll have another update in just a few minutes.
I asked them to give me the phone because I wanted to speak with him, and I was going to curse him out.
A Democratic congresswoman says she is livid with President Trump, why a call to a Gold Star family member has her so angry.